Imagine that before you go to sleep, someone tells you, "Put a glass of water under your bed and something in your life will begin to change." You would probably smile, perhaps with a certain skepticism, and yet, something inside you would be curious. Because there are gestures that, however simple they may seem, awaken a kind of ancestral mystery, something that speaks directly to instinct, to the silent memory we carry from before words. A glass of water, a gesture, an instant between the visible and the invisible. What if it were there, exactly there, that one of the keys to human harmony resided, the one Nikola Tesla so sought? Tesla always believed that the universe is made of vibrations, and that every particle in the cosmos is simply energy dancing at different frequencies. Nothing is static, nothing is solid. Reality is an invisible symphony, and we are just one note within it. When he said this, many laughed. They called him eccentric, crazy, mystical. But Tesla saw beyond that. He saw that the laws governing magnetism and electricity also govern consciousness and emotion. And that is why he believed that something as simple as water could contain cosmic secrets. Water is the mirror of creation. It reacts to sounds, words, and intentions. It is sensitive, alive, almost conscious. Each drop registers vibrations, responds to emotion, holds information invisible to the human eye. Tesla saw in water a perfect conductor of that which cannot be measured, thought. For him, the mind is not merely a product of the brain, but a frequency that interacts with the environment, altering molecular structures and energy patterns around it. So imagine what happens when you sleep above a glass of water. Two dimensions enter into dialogue, the dreaming body, and the vibrational field that surrounds it. During sleep, the body disconnects from rational control. Mental defenses dissolve, the unconscious opens up, and everything we repress, fear, anger, sadness, exhaustion, begins to vibrate in search of release. Tesla said that sleep is the laboratory of the spirit, the moment when the soul reconnects to the universal field. It is when we cease to be separate individuals and become part of a cosmic electrical network again. In this invisible scenario, the glass of water becomes an antenna, a vibrational surface that absorbs what the body no longer needs to retain. It's almost as if the liquid acts as a liquid mirror between the conscious and the unconscious, reflecting and purifying what cannot be expressed in words. But is it possible that a simple glass of water can actually do something? Or is it the symbolic act, the gesture of intention that moves the energy? Tesla would answer that it is both, because in the physics of the invisible, the symbol and the real become confused. Everything that is observed is transformed, he said. This is the principle of the vibrational field. Attention creates form. By placing the glass under the bed, the individual creates a point of energetic focus, a center for the reorganization of frequencies. The dense vibration of fear, anger, worry naturally seeks balance. Water, being receptive and neutral, acts as a mediator in this process. There are accounts from ancient cultures that reinforce this perception. In Egypt, bowls of water were placed under the bed to ward off dark dreams. In some Tibetan villages, monks left small cups of water under the beds of initiates, believing that the water absorbed the chaotic energies of spiritual learning. Among the indigenous peoples of the Americas, water beside the hammock was seen as a guardian of sleep, the liquid spirit that devours fear and expels disturbance. None of these peoples knew Tesla, but all, in some way, intuited the same principle. Matter vibrates, and vibration is shaped by intention. Tesla observed nature with the same reverence. He saw the universe as a living organism, interconnected by subtle electrical currents. In one of his notes, he wrote that each atom is a microcosm of spiritual energy, and the space between things is more alive than the things themselves. This phrase summarizes his vision. Empty space is not empty. It is the field where everything communicates. When you place a glass of water under the bed, you are creating a connection with this field. The water becomes a mirror where the invisible manifests itself, capturing vibrations from the environment and silently adjusting them. Some say they woke up after this simple gesture feeling light. Others report vivid dreams in which they resolved old issues. Some notice that the water dawns with small bubbles, a metallic taste, or a strange appearance. The logical mind tries to explain humidity, temperature, evaporation. But what if it's more than that? What if the water has actually absorbed vibrational fragments of the human field? Tesla wouldn't have dismissed this hypothesis. On the contrary, he would have sought to measure it, decode it, prove that the invisible is merely the visible at a different speed. There is an emotional dimension to this gesture that science does not yet understand. Placing the glass of water is, in a way, an act of surrender. It is admitting that there are greater forces at work while we sleep. It is allowing the universe to participate in the process of inner cleansing. It is a gesture of faith, but also of physics. Because faith for Tesla was not blind belief, but rather an intuitive understanding of a law not yet written. He said that the human mind is merely a transformer of cosmic energy, and that when thought aligns with the universal rhythm, reality responds like a musical note vibrating in resonance with another. But there's a crucial detail. The ritual only has meaning if it's conscious. The power lies in attention, not habit. When a gesture becomes routine without intention, it loses its meaning. Tesla saw this in everything, even in machines. Without purpose, even the most perfect invention loses its soul. He believed that every human thought, every emotion, creates real waves in space, which collide and interfere with each other like electric fields. That's why he said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think about energy, frequency, and vibration. He wasn't just talking about engines and lightning, he was talking about us. So by placing a glass of water under the bed, what you're really doing is sending a signal. You're telling the universe, I'm ready to release what no longer serves me. It's a vibrational code, the sound of thought, the movement of emotion, the physical gesture. All of this generates a field of intention, and this field, through resonance, extends to the environment, to the water, to the very space around it. Tesla believed that the entire universe is sensitive to human thought, and that's why certain prayers, certain rituals, and certain words have real power, not through magic, but through the physics of vibration. This realization could change everything, because if water reacts to emotion, then the whole house reacts. If water can purify, then perhaps fear can be dissolved. If the universe responds to intention, perhaps destiny isn't as fixed as we think. Imagine the psychological impact of this. The simple act of placing the glass under the bed creates an internal shift. The mind organizes itself, the body relaxes, attention shifts from chaos to silence. This transition is, in itself, a form of healing. Tesla would call this a vibrational phase adjustment. It's when the frequency of the human being realigns with the harmonic field of nature. And when this happens, even the air seems lighter, things flow, thoughts calm down. But there's an inevitable question. If something so small can change how we sleep and feel, what else are we ignoring in our daily lives? How many subtle, invisible forces are at work in our lives without us realizing it? Tesla spent his life trying to measure what no one could see, and died believing that one day, men will understand that spiritual forces are as real as electricity. Perhaps that day is approaching, not through laboratories, but through small gestures of awareness. While the modern world chases after grand answers, sometimes the deepest laws are hidden in the mundane: a glass of water, a magnetic field, a mind at rest. It is at this point that the universe and humankind meet, in the vibrating simplicity. And perhaps that's why Tesla saw no difference between spirituality and science. For him, both were different languages describing the same phenomenon, the dialogue between energy and consciousness. What we call a miracle is merely a vibration not yet understood. What we call a ritual is simply a forgotten technology. Therefore, this experiment, placing a glass of water under the bed, should not be done as a superstition, but as a vibrational experience. Do as Tesla would, observing, feeling, taking notes. Pay attention to the details, your sleep, your dreams, your emotional state upon waking. Perhaps you will notice subtle changes. Perhaps you will feel nothing immediately, but something will be happening, even if silently, because energy never fails to respond. And it is at this point that the true mystery begins. What else can water reflect besides human emotions? Can it store fragments of memory? Does it hold impressions of time, of thoughts, of invisible presences? Tesla believed that the universe is a living information network, and that each molecule, each atom, is an antenna connected to the whole. If this is true, a glass of water under the bed is not just a container, it is a node in this network, capturing and reorganizing the vibrational field of the environment. Perhaps what we call energy cleansing is actually a quantum reconfiguration of frequencies. Perhaps what we feel as peace is simply vibrational coherence, the alignment between the vibration of the body and the vibration of the earth. And perhaps the gesture of placing the glass of water is simply a reminder that we still have power over our own energy. Ultimately, it doesn't matter whether you believe or not. Vibrational truth is independent of belief. Electricity works even if you doubt it. Frequency exists even if you don't see it. And water, silent, will continue to react to everything that is emitted. Sounds, emotions, intentions. It is the invisible witness of the universe. Tesla would understand this perfectly, because he knew that the true human revolution would not come from machines, but from the awakening of the vibrational mind. And perhaps by placing a glass of water under your bed tonight, you are participating in precisely that awakening, a small, silent revolution of the invisible. What if this simple experience was the beginning of something much bigger? What if what happens to water during sleep isn't just absorption, but communication? What if, without realizing it, we were conversing with the universe every night, and it was patiently listening to us through the water? The answer, as Tesla would say, lies in vibration, and it is there that the next part of the journey begins. Nikola Tesla used to say that water is the blood of the earth. He saw in this liquid something that few scientists of his time dared to see: a silent intelligence, a memory capable of registering vibrations, emotions, and thoughts. For him, water was not just a chemical compound. It was the medium through which the universe breathed and communicated. This idea may seem poetic, but there is something in it that touches a profound point: the perception that everything that exists, including us, is connected by subtle fields of energy. And it is precisely this invisible network that manifests itself when a simple glass of water is placed under the bed before sleeping. Tesla's thought always revolved around science and spirituality. He saw no separation between the laboratory and the temple, between the atom and the soul. He believed that the laws governing electricity are the same that shape feelings and consciousness. In one of his lectures, he said that the entire universe is made of condensed light, and that each particle vibrates in response to mental and emotional impulses. If this is true, then water, which covers more than 70% of the planet and also makes up more than 70% of the human body, is the perfect link between man and the cosmos. It is in water that the visible and the invisible meet. Imagine a typical night. You arrive home tired, your mind filled with noise, stress, unanswered messages, worries piling up like dust. You lie down, but sleep doesn't come. Your restless mind continues working. And then, in an almost intuitive gesture, you take a glass of water, fill it, place it under the bed, and turn off the light. This small, seemingly banal gesture is a form of surrender, a way of saying to the universe, "I trust." And when you do this, something changes. It's not visible to the eye, but it can be felt. The water begins to act as an energetic mirror, reflecting and reorganizing the vibrations floating in the environment. Some find this impossible, but consider this. Water responds to any stimulus. It changes state with heat, changes shape with the container, changes density with sound. So why wouldn't it change with thought? The Japanese scientist Masaru Emoto proved that water crystals exposed to different words and emotions form distinct structures. Words like love and gratitude create harmonious and beautiful patterns, while hate and anger produce chaotic and broken crystals. Water is a witness to consciousness. And if this occurs in a laboratory, imagine what happens inside a house where there are conflicts, arguments, fear, and tension. All of this is also vibration. When you sleep, your energy field expands, and the water near you interacts with these invisible waves, absorbing what is out of balance and restoring harmony. Tesla understood this universal sensitivity. He knew that everything in the universe vibrates, and that each vibration creates a unique energetic signature. He liked to compare human beings to a transmitter and receiver station. We emit thoughts and emotions like radio waves, and we receive back what resonates with what we transmit. Water, in this context, is the purest receiver that exists. It registers what we feel, what we think, and even what we avoid thinking about. That's why some say that leaving a glass of water under the bed helps to pull negative vibrations, because in fact, it is capable of reflecting and neutralizing dissonant frequencies. A woman named Elisa recounted a curious experience. For months, she suffered from insomnia and constant nightmares. A friend, an enthusiast of Tesla's ideas, suggested she place a glass of water under her bed for 7 consecutive nights. Skeptical but curious, Elisa decided to try it. On the first night, she noticed nothing. On the second, she slept a little better. On the third, she had a strange dream. An old house, open windows, wind coming in. In the dream, someone said, "The house is being cleaned." When she woke up, she felt the air lighter. She repeated the ritual throughout the week. At the end of the 7th day, she realized that the nightmares had ceased and that the anxiety seemed to have dissipated. Perhaps coincidence, perhaps something much deeper. Tesla would say that coincidences are merely points of connection that we don't yet understand. He believed that all forms of energy tend towards harmony. If the human mind is a source of vibration, and water is the medium that registers this vibration, then a simple gesture like Elisa's can truly reorganize the energy field of an environment. The glass of water under the bed acts as a catalyst, absorbing what is dense and returning what is pure. But it's important to remember, water does nothing on its own. What drives the process is intention. It is thought that gives form to energy. Conventional science still hesitates to accept this idea, but modern physics is beginning to make room for the invisible. Recent research shows that water molecules have quantum behaviors. They interact with subtle electromagnetic fields and are influenced even by micro-fluctuations in temperature and human emotion. Water seems to be more than a substance. It's a language. And when you place a glass under your bed, you are communicating with that language. You are saying to nature, "Reorganize what in me is out of sync." There are also those who use this gesture as a daily mental cleansing practice. A man named Raoul, an engineer and staunch atheist, heard about it by chance. He had lost his job and was sleeping poorly, overwhelmed by anxiety. He decided to test it, more out of scientific curiosity than belief. On the first day, he noted in a notebook how he felt before going to sleep and upon waking. The following morning, he reported a light sensation, as if my head had been silent for the first time in weeks. He repeated this for 10 nights and, in his notes, noticed a pattern. The heavier his thoughts were during the day, the more murky the water seemed at dawn. He who had previously laughed at these ideas began to see the gesture not as a mystical ritual, but as a personal experiment on energy and consciousness. Tesla believed exactly that the human mind is the most advanced laboratory that exists. He said that every thought shapes the world, and every emotion builds or destroys a frequency. Perhaps the glass of water is just a symbolic tool to remind us of this. It forces us to slow down, to observe, to feel the invisible. By placing the glass, we are training the mind for attention, for care, and attention in itself is already a powerful energetic force. It organizes chaos. It's as if the simple act of looking at the water before sleeping already begins to purify the environment. However, there is an emotional nuance to this process. When a person believes that something is being cleansed, the body relaxes, the mind slows down, and this changes their physiological frequency. The heart rate decreases, the brain enters alpha waves, and the nervous system begins to balance itself. It is science and symbolism at the same time. The body reacts to what the mind believes, and the environment responds to what the body emits. Tesla knew this when he spoke about the power of vibration. There is no separation between matter and energy, between thought and electromagnetic field. Interestingly, there's something poetic about imagining water as the guardian of sleep. During the night, while the body rests, it remains awake, absorbing and transforming the environment. And when morning arrives, you pour the contents down the sink, releasing what no longer belongs to your field. It's a gesture of renewal, a cycle of surrender and new beginnings. And in a way, that's what Tesla always wanted to teach, that everything in the universe is a cycle, a current, a flow. Energy never dies, it only changes form. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect is not the phenomenon itself, but what it awakens in those who practice it. The simple act of placing a glass of water under the bed allows a person to regain the power to consciously interact with the forces around them. This breaks the automatism of modern life, where everything is fast, mechanical, and disconnected. Tesla believed that modern man had distanced himself from his own vibrational nature. He saw haste, fear, and inattention as the greatest enemies of harmony. And it's curious to think that perhaps the remedy for this lies not in great discoveries, but in small gestures of presence. Water, then, becomes a reminder. It reminds us that we are still part of the same field that moves the stars, that the energy vibrating within an atom is the same energy vibrating within the heart, and that, in the silence of the night, when everything seems still, an invisible dance is taking place, a constant communication between the body, the environment, and the universe. Perhaps this is what Tesla meant when he wrote that, "Everything is energy, and when you understand this, you live in harmony with the whole." The glass of water is not just a symbol, it's an antenna, a bridge between the outside and inside worlds, a reminder that even in the simplest gesture, there is a dialogue with the infinite. And when at dawn you pour out that water, you will be doing more than a symbolic act. You will be saying, without words, "I am clean, I am new, I am vibrating in harmony again." Perhaps the secret lies not in the water itself, but in what it awakens, the awareness that the power to transform the invisible has always been within you. But what if this power could go beyond emotional cleansing? What if the same force that reorganizes the vibrations of the environment could also transform physical reality itself? In Tesla's vision, this possibility was not a dream, it was the next step in human evolution. Nikola Tesla believed that the human mind is a direct extension of the universal electric field. For him, every thought is a discharge of energy, every emotion a vibrational wave that travels through the invisible fabric of space. If this is true, then everything we feel, think, and emit leaves a mark, a record, in the field around us. And it is at this point that the glass of water under the bed transforms from superstition into vibrational technology. What seems like a simple gesture is, in fact, a primitive, yet precise, way of manipulating the energy field in which we live. The difference between the mystic and the scientist, according to Tesla, is only the method of observation. Both seek to understand the invisible. At night, when the body rests and the mind detaches itself from logic, this energetic network becomes most perceptible. It is when the boundaries between the physical and the subtle dissolve. Tesla described this state as the electric silence of the universe, a vibrational range in which human consciousness can reconnect to the original frequency of creation. In this silence, the glass of water acts as a bridge. It becomes the fixed point that anchors the vibrational field, balancing the disordered frequencies that accumulate in the room's space. It's as if the silent water reorganizes the mental waves that we let float during the day. But what actually happens when you sleep on a glass of water? It's not the water that changes, it's the field around it. The human body emits electromagnetic microfields that vary according to emotional and mental state. During sleep, these waves expand, interact with the environment, and, in a way, inform the water. This interaction creates resonance, and resonance is synonymous with harmony. The water doesn't just absorb what is heavy, it returns coherence, harmony. The result is subtle but perceptible. A deeper sleep, a lighter mind, waking up with a feeling of clarity. Now think for a moment. What if emotions really were electric fields, as Tesla claimed? What if every feeling of anger, sadness, or fear left a trace in the air, a vibrational signature capable of influencing the environment for hours or even days? This would explain why there are places where we feel good, and others where the air seems heavy, as if something invisible were draining the energy. Water, by its very nature, is the perfect antidote. It is the element that not only cleanses the physical body but also rebalances the energy of the space. It is no coincidence that temples, churches, and mosques use water in their rituals. The liquid symbolizes the vibrational purification that precedes contact with the divine. Tesla saw a physical logic in this. He said that matter is simply energy in a state of slowness, and that all energy can be reorganized by the correct frequency. That's why he believed in the power of sound, light, and even words. A thought is not abstract, it's an electrical impulse. A prayer is not just poetry, it's an organized vibration that propagates through space. If you place a glass of water under the bed and program it with a positive intention, you are literally creating a field of constructive interference. You are imposing a new frequency on the environment. It's like tuning a radio station. When the noise ceases, harmony appears. But there is something deeper here, something Tesla intuited, but the modern world still ignores. He believed that the human brain is a receiver and transmitter of the ether, the vibrational substance that fills the space between all things. For contemporary science, the ether has ceased to exist as a physical concept. But for Tesla, it never disappeared. It only changed its name. Today we call it the quantum field, zero field, or vacuum point energy. It is the same force that keeps galaxies in motion and at the same time vibrates within every cell of the body. Water, with its highly flexible molecular structure, is one of the few elements capable of interacting directly with this field. It reads and writes information on it as if it were a liquid antenna. Have you ever noticed how the sound of rain can calm the mind, or how the sound of the sea seems to cleanse the mind? This is no coincidence. The sound of moving water generates low-frequency waves that resonate with the human nervous system. It's a natural form of vibrational synchronization. When water moves, it creates harmony. When it stagnates, it absorbs and retains vibrations from the environment. This is exactly why the glass of water under the bed should be changed every morning. It fulfills its purpose and needs to release what it has accumulated. Just like us, water also needs to reset its field. Now imagine consciously applying this understanding. Imagine transforming each glass of water into a small vibrational purification station, not just under the bed, but in any environment that needs balance. Tesla believed that one day, humankind would learn to shape the environment simply through the frequency of thought. Perhaps this practice is the embryo of that future. Every gesture, every breath, every conscious thought is a small vibrational engineering project in action. But are we ready to accept that our thoughts have a physical impact on the world? What if what we call coincidence is simply the synchronicity between our internal frequency and the vibration of the universe? Think about how many times you've thought of someone, and a few minutes later that person called, or how certain places seem to attract good or bad experiences. Tesla saw all of this as pure physics. He said that the human mind is like a natural oscillator. The more aligned it is with the frequency of love, calm, and gratitude, the more harmonious its interaction with the universal field. In one of his lesser-known experiments, Tesla claimed to be able to feel the vibrational weight of environments. He would enter certain places and say he perceived energetic imbalances in the air, as if matter had memories. Today, studies on environmental physics and electromagnetic biology are beginning to confirm something similar. Walls, objects, and even the air can retain residual energy fields. Water, when present, acts as a neutralizing medium. This is why the simple sound of a fountain, a river, or rain already has therapeutic power, because it reorganizes the vibrational chaos around it. But there's a turning point here. If water responds to our emotions, what happens when we live surrounded by collective fear, constant anxiety, thoughts of scarcity and hatred? If human vibration is capable of altering the field, then it is also capable of polluting the invisible. Tesla foresaw this collapse. He feared that modern man, obsessed with technology, would forget to take care of frequency. He said that humanity is sick not for lack of resources, but for lack of vibrational harmony. And perhaps he was right. The world is saturated with stimuli, artificial waves, sounds, information, and the human mind has lost its natural attunement with the earth. This is where water reappears as a silent teacher. It reminds us that harmony doesn't need to be forced. It simply flows. When you place a glass of water under your bed, you are recreating an ancestral, almost instinctive gesture, that of returning to the earth the power to harmonize what humankind has disordered. And even without understanding, your body feels it. Sleep deepens, breathing slows, thoughts dissolve. It's not the miracle of water, it's the miracle of restored frequency. Now ask yourself, how many times have you tried to change your life without changing your vibration? How many times have you sought new situations, new people, but carried within you the same frequency of the past? Water, in all its simplicity, teaches the opposite. It shows that there is no real change without inner cleansing. The glass under the bed is a symbolic gesture of reconnection, but also a physical reminder that energy responds to intention. It is a ritual of vibrational re-education, and there is something profoundly human in this act. It is a return to sensitivity. In a world that measures everything in terms of results, profits, and productivity, the idea of a glass of water healing something seems absurd. But perhaps it is precisely this simplicity that we lack. Tesla understood this. He believed that the man of the future would be less dependent on machines and more connected to the vibrational mind, a being capable of transforming environments simply through the coherence of his own energy. The true revolution, he said, will begin when man learns to control what he feels. So, perhaps the glass of water is more than a spiritual practice. Perhaps it's the first step towards this control. A daily exercise in attention and attunement, a reminder that energy is malleable and that the invisible obeys consciousness. In the end, the gesture is simple. Place the glass, visualize peace, sleep, wake up, and pour it out. But the experience is profound. It's realizing that the universe, like water, always responds precisely to the frequency you emit. What if that answer doesn't just come in the form of feelings, but of events? What if internal changes begin to reorganize your external reality as well? Tesla believed in this. For him, each person is a living transmitter, and when the transmitter changes frequency, the entire world around it adjusts. Nothing is coincidence. Everything is resonance. Perhaps then the real secret lies not in the glass of water, but in what it awakens. The reminder that we are made of the same vibration that builds galaxies, and that every conscious gesture is a conversation with the universe itself. What if what we call a miracle is just a frequency that we've learned to ignore? Perhaps the mystery isn't out there, but within each silent wave that the heart emits every time it decides to believe. Nikola Tesla said that, "Thought is the initial vibration that shapes reality." This phrase, written over a century ago, continues to resonate as both a warning and a revelation. Because if vibration creates, then every human emotion is a constructive or destructive force in the invisible world we inhabit. When we place a glass of water under the bed, as a simple nightly gesture, we are doing much more than it seems. We are interacting with the vibrational field of matter, the same field that Tesla obsessively studied throughout his life. He believed that the universe is not composed of particles, but of frequencies that condense into forms. This changes everything, because it means that even everyday gestures, a prayer, a word, a silent thought, are acts of vibrational engineering. For decades, Tesla observed how electric and magnetic fields interacted with different materials. In a little-known experiment conducted in his New York laboratory in 1899, he noticed something extraordinary. The behavior of water changed when exposed to certain types of sound frequencies. The waves created stable geometric patterns, as if the liquid recognized the harmony and transformed it into visible form. These mandala-like designs resembled structures that would only later be studied by cymatology, a science that investigates how sound organizes matter. What Tesla intuited before anyone else is that sound, emotional and mental vibration, acts on water with the same principle. Order generates beauty. Chaos generates disintegration. Here's a curious fact. In 2013, scientists at the University of Washington discovered that water molecules can retain electrical information for up to 15 seconds, even after the field that stimulated them has disappeared. This means that water possesses a kind of energy memory. It's a short time on a human scale, but in molecular terms, it's an eternity. Now imagine this phenomenon amplified to the human body, which is composed on average of 65% water. Every emotion, every thought, every word we utter acts as an electrical frequency, recording impressions in the water of our body and in the environment. When Tesla said that man is a living coil, he was referring to this same process. The human body is a vibrational machine that absorbs, transmits, and transforms energy. But there's something even more fascinating. Recent NASA studies show that even in interstellar clouds there are water molecules. They float between stars, traveling billions of kilometers, as if they were cosmic messengers. This confirms an idea that Tesla defended with conviction, that water is universal, not just terrestrial. It exists where there is vibration, where there is movement, where there is life. It's as if the entire universe were woven from invisible liquid threads. When you place a glass of water under your bed, you are connecting to this same cosmic principle. It's the same element that circulates in rivers, in bodies, and stars. The gesture is small, but the field with which it interacts is infinite. Tesla understood that modern man would suffer from a type of vibrational blindness. He predicted that we would live surrounded by artificial waves, radios, microwaves, communication frequencies, and that this would alter not only the body, but also the human spirit. And he was right. Today, studies show that the Earth's natural electromagnetic field, known as the Schumann resonance, vibrates around 7.83 Hz, the same frequency as brainwaves in a meditative state. This field is essential for biological balance. However, it is constantly being interfered with by artificial radiation. We live in a sea of disharmonious frequencies that Tesla already called the energy noise of progress. The glass of water, in this context, becomes a tool for reconnection. Water, by its neutral nature, acts as a natural harmonizer, absorbing and filtering the excess chaotic vibration of the environment. But what is so special about human intention when performing this gesture? Tesla said that will is the trigger that activates energy. The universe, according to him, is like a receiving machine. It responds to the quality of the frequency, not to the effort of force. This explains why two identical gestures can produce different results. The power is not in the action, but in the consciousness that sustains it. If you place a glass of water under the bed out of boredom, nothing happens. If you do it with presence and intention, the vibration propagates. It's a principle identical to that of electricity. Energy only flows when there is a connection. A story illustrates this well. During the 1940s in Croatia, a group of Franciscan monks began using glasses of water as part of a nightly purification ritual. They believed that the water held prayers and freed the environment from negative energies. Decades later, local scientists who analyzed samples of these glasses found unusual microscopic patterns, such as small hexagonal formations similar to those that form in water exposed to harmonic sounds. No chemical explanation was found, only the vibrational record of human faith. If belief is powerful enough to alter the structure of water, then perhaps Tesla was right in stating that faith is merely science at a higher frequency. But there's another surprising aspect: the power of sound. Water responds to audible and inaudible sounds. Experiments show that tones between 432 and 528 Hz, ranges considered harmonic, generate perfect geometric patterns on the liquid surface. Coincidentally, Tesla always spoke about the importance of frequencies 3, 6, and 9, which he believed to be the keys to the universe. Curiously, the interval between 432 and 528 Hz is related to these numerical proportions. It's as if the very music of creation followed this sequence. Therefore, many believe that placing a glass of water under the bed while listening to sounds in this range can amplify the effects of energy purification. Science doesn't yet fully explain it, but empirical results are accumulating. People report deeper nights of sleep, more vivid dreams, and waking up with a feeling of mental clarity. This is where skepticism meets mystery. How can something so simple produce perceptible effects? Perhaps because simplicity is the original language of the universe. Nature doesn't need complexity to act. An atom is composed of 99% empty space, but it is in this emptiness that all the energetic dance of existence takes place. The glass of water doesn't do anything by itself. It merely provides space for balance to occur. And balance, by definition, is the natural state of all vibration. Tesla believed that humanity's future would be defined by the ability to control the individual's energy field. He saw the mind as the greatest transmitter that exists, and stated that one day men would learn to think in harmony with the earth and not against it. The glass of water, in this sense, is a physical reminder of this possibility. It is the symbol of a kind of inner technology, a point of convergence between science and consciousness. While we sleep, the water works. It acts as an interface between what we think and what the universe reorganizes. Perhaps that is why, in many traditions, it is said that the night brings counsel. The vibrational field adjusts during rest, and water helps to guide this process. Research on sleep psychology shows that during deep rest, the brain enters delta and theta wave states, which facilitate cellular and emotional regeneration. Interestingly, these frequency ranges resemble the Earth's natural vibrations. It's as if the body, the planet, and the cosmos come into sync. Tesla believed this was the ideal moment for any kind of energy transmission. Therefore, the ritual of placing water under the bed before sleeping has both physical and spiritual meaning. It's the moment when consciousness withdraws and the universe does the rest. But what if, in addition to purifying, water could also communicate? What if it not only absorbed frequencies but also retransmitted them? This hypothesis, increasingly considered by cutting-edge scientists, suggests that water is a vehicle for quantum information. It would be capable of storing and transferring vibrational data between biological systems. This would explain why certain rituals of blessing or positive words over water seem to have a real effect on those who consume it. It would be the beginning of a new understanding, that vibration carries information, and information is the basis of creation. Now, consider the psychological impact of this. We live surrounded by emotional pollution, collective anxiety, fear, conflict, and at the same time we are dehydrated of silence and presence. The simple act of placing a glass of water under the bed before sleeping is a symbolic way of reconnecting with what is pure, ordered, and natural. It's a gesture that slows things down, that reminds the mind that the universe still responds to simplicity. It's not about superstition, it's about vibrational coherence. When the mind aligns, life also aligns. Tesla used to say that if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. This phrase is repeated in countless contexts, but rarely understood in depth. What he meant is that everything that exists is malleable, and the mold is frequency. The glass of water is just one practical example of this universal law. Every night, the field reorganizes itself. Every morning, something inside and outside of us is renewed. The water spills, but what it represented remains. The reminder that balance is possible and is always within reach of a conscious gesture. What if all of humanity, for a moment, tuned into the same frequency of harmony? What if thousands of people, in different parts of the planet, placed a glass of water under their bed, not just for themselves, but with the intention of purifying the collective energy field? Tesla believed this would not be utopia. He said that the Earth would react immediately to a massive vibrational change, like an instrument that resonates when touched by many attuned hands. Perhaps this is the point where science and spirituality finally meet, in the vibration that creates, purifies, and connects all that lives. Water is merely a mirror, and as we look at it, we see the reflection of what we truly are: energy in motion, consciousness in liquid form, fragments of the universe itself trying to remember how to harmonize again. Nikola Tesla believed that humanity's greatest challenge was not mastering electricity or creating new machines, but understanding the workings of the subtle energies that shape reality. He said that everything that man does, thinks, and feels leaves an electrical trace in the universe. This idea, which sounds almost poetic, is closer to science than it seems. Today, modern physics recognizes that subatomic particles can be influenced simply by observation, and that the simple act of measuring alters the behavior of matter. Tesla intuited this long before. He understood that thought is a physical force, and that consciousness is a current that runs through the invisible fabric of reality. In this context, the gesture of placing a glass of water under the bed before sleeping is not a mystical ritual. It is a micro-experiment with the vibrational laws of the universe. Imagine the scene: a silent room. A person lies exhausted after a long day, and under the bed rests a glass of crystal-clear water. What seems like a simple habit begins to reveal a complex network of invisible interactions. During sleep, the brain enters delta and theta waves, mental states that align with the Earth's natural frequencies. It is at this point that the body, mind, and the vibrational field of the environment resonate. Water, due to its unique molecular nature, becomes a catalyst for this communication. It absorbs electrical and magnetic frequencies, reacting even to emotional fields. This is why, at dawn, many people report that the glass feels heavier, cloudy, or even strangely alive. Something there has transformed, perhaps not the water itself, but the vibrational field around it. Studies conducted at the Institute of Noetic Sciences in California have revealed that water reacts to consciously directed human intentions. In a 2015 experiment, groups of people sent thoughts of love and gratitude to samples of distilled water, while other samples were ignored. When analyzed under a microscope, the molecules exposed to intention formed more harmonious and stable geometric structures. The neutral samples, on the other hand, showed chaotic patterns. Most impressively, the experiment was repeated dozens of times with similar results. Although traditional science still hesitates to accept this phenomenon, it confirms Tesla's central hypothesis: energy follows thought. Now consider what this means within the context of your own home. How many times do you arrive home carrying the day's vibrations, worries, frustrations, fears, and unknowingly release them into the environment? The house, like a living organism, retains this energy. Water in this scenario is an agent of balance. By placing it under the bed, you create a point of vibrational neutralization. The magnetic field of the water attracts the disharmonious frequencies of the environment and reorganizes them, in the same way that a magnet realigns iron filings into an ordered field. The result is not only psychological, it is physical, electrical, and measurable. Tesla saw water as a conductor of universal energy and believed that its behavior obeyed the same laws that govern ether, the invisible substance that fills all space. But there's something even more curious. In 2022, researchers at the University of Zurich published a study on hydrological memory, showing that water molecules can retain information for long periods through quantum fluctuations in their hydrogen bonds. This means that, at a microscopic level, water is able to remember what has been energetically imprinted on it. If human thought has an electrical charge, and we know it does, then intention directed at water is a way of programming its structure. Tesla used to say that the mind is the transmitter, and matter is only the echo. By visualizing the purification of water, you send a frequency that reorganizes not only the liquid, but also the energy field of the environment. Think about how this applies to everyday life. Have you ever entered a place and felt an inexplicable weight, even though nothing visible had happened? Or have you ever met someone whose presence was light, almost magnetic? This difference is purely vibrational. Environments and people emit waves of different frequencies. What we call good energy or heavy energy is in fact a response of our body to the vibrational field in which it is immersed. Water, in turn, is sensitive to these fields. It is the first element to feel the imbalance and the first to restore it. That's why baths, waterfalls, and seas have an almost instantaneous calming effect. And that's why the simple glass of water under the bed, despite being discreet, can alter the emotional atmosphere of an entire room. Tesla viewed the human body as a natural antenna. He believed that cells vibrate like small electrical circuits, emitting unique frequencies that align with or conflict with the environment. When there is harmony, we feel peace. When there is disharmony, we feel anguish, fatigue, and confusion. Water is the perfect mediator between these two states. Therefore, its conscious use is a form of vibrational self-therapy. It's not magic, it's physics applied to consciousness. Human intention, that silent but powerful thought, is the key that activates transmutation. When you place a glass of water under your bed and visualize light, harmony, and cleansing, you are literally reprogramming the quantum field around your body. But what if traditional science was only beginning to understand what Tesla already knew? In 2020, Russian physicist Konstantin Korotkov developed a technology capable of recording energy fields around objects and organisms. By measuring the electrophotonic emission of different liquids, he discovered that water reacts to human emotions at a distance of up to 3 meters. This means that it responds not only to touch, but to intention. The implications of this are enormous. If every glass of water reacts to what we feel, imagine the collective impact of human emotions on the oceans, rivers, and even air humidity. Human vibration, added on a global scale, alters the planet. Tesla saw this interconnection as inevitable. When a single thought changes, the entire universe changes along with it. There's a philosophical dimension to this. Perhaps the glass of water under the bed isn't just about purification, but about vibrational responsibility. The gesture is symbolic, but it represents a choice: to tune in to balance. When repeated consciously, this small act becomes a daily reminder that every emotion is a form of circulating energy. It's the same principle used by ancient civilizations, from Egypt to Japan, where water was treated as a sacred entity. In ancient Egypt, it was believed that water heard prayers. In Japan, Shinto monks still perform this ritual today. Misogi, the ritual of purification through water, believing that it restores harmony between body and spirit. These rituals, although imbued with symbolism, follow the same vibrational logic that Tesla described. But there is also a psychological side that cannot be ignored. Modern studies in neuroscience show that intention alters the body's physiology. When a person visualizes something positive, the brain releases neurotransmitters that reduce stress, balance heart rate, and strengthen the immune system. The body literally responds to what the mind believes. Thus, when you place a glass of water under your bed and believe it is purifying your energy field, this thought creates a chain reaction. The body relaxes, the mind slows down, and the nervous system reorganizes itself. Healing begins even before sleep. What Tesla called frequency of harmony is now studied as cardiac coherence, the physiological state in which the heart, brain, and breathing enter into synchronized rhythm. And here's the surprise. When people enter this state of coherence, their electromagnetic fields expand and influence the environment. A study by HeartMath Institute Research in the United States has shown that the human heart field can be detected up to 3 meters from the body. This field, measured in hertz, changes according to emotional state. Emotions like gratitude and love generate smooth, ordered waves. Fear and anger create irregular, chaotic waves. Now imagine hundreds of people, each with a glass of water under their bed, sleeping in vibrational harmony. The collective field generated by this would be a resonance network capable of influencing the planet, exactly as Tesla predicted. The vibration of a single being in harmony is sufficient to reorganize the frequency of thousands. Perhaps this is the true meaning of the gesture: to reconnect with the pulse of the earth, to restore the balance lost through haste, fear, and the excess of modern vibrational noise. The glass of water is a tangible metaphor for this reconnection. It forces us to remember that, despite all the technology, we are still part of a sensitive and intelligent energy system. Tesla believed that humanity would only advance when it understood that spiritual energy and electrical energy are the same force at different vibrational levels. Today, when we look at a simple glass of water and feel something change, perhaps we are beginning to understand what he meant. In the end, the gesture is simple, but the meaning is vast. Water not only cleans what is around us, it cleanses what vibrates within us. It is the link between man and the universe, the mirror where the invisible reveals itself. And when, in the morning, we pour this water down the sink, we are participating in a larger cycle, the same one that moves seas, clouds, and celestial bodies, the same one Tesla spent his life trying to decipher, the eternal flow of energy that never dies, only transforms. Perhaps the true secret is not the glass nor the ritual, but the reminder that the power of purification lies in the conscious vibration of those who believe. And if each of us is made of water, perhaps the greatest miracle is realizing that the universe is trying to harmonize itself through us. Nikola Tesla said that the universe is a great living organism, and that each human thought is an electric current pulsing within it. He saw man as a conscious fragment of this cosmic energy, capable of creating, healing, and transforming reality itself through vibration. The glass of water under the bed, so simple and seemingly innocent, is merely a symbol of this power. It is not the glass, nor the H2O molecule that works the miracle. It is awakened consciousness, the reminder that everything vibrates, and that human beings can choose the quality of their vibration. And it is here that true transformation begins, when knowledge ceases to be an idea and becomes daily practice, when thought transforms into action and gesture becomes a living frequency. Tesla believed that human evolution would not depend on new machines, but on new states of consciousness. He said that the man who masters his emotions masters the universe. This means that the energy we use to fuel anger, fear, and haste is the same energy that can be used to heal, love, and create. The first step is understanding that everything we feel propagates, like an electrical wave that travels through space and returns to us. When we understand this, we begin to choose more carefully what we emit. The water under the bed is a silent reminder of this. It reminds us every night that the invisible responds to what we vibrate, and every morning pouring it out is an invitation to a new cycle, a new frequency. But knowledge alone is not enough. Plan, a routine, a conscious practice that translates theory into real vibration is necessary. Therefore, here is a simple plan, not mystical but energetic, to apply everything that has been explored throughout this journey. First step, the gesture of the night. Before going to sleep, fill a glass with clean water. Hold it for a few seconds with both hands. Breathe deeply. Close your eyes and imagine that you are transmitting your purest intention to the water. Peace, clarity, balance. Don't rush. Tesla believed that the frequency of the human mind is amplified when combined with emotion and breath. So, feel what you desire. Visualize the energy leaving your heart, traveling through your arms and reaching the water. Place the glass under the bed, preferably near your head, in the area where the body's energy field is most active during sleep. As you lie down, mentally repeat, "May this water absorb and harmonize everything that does not belong to my highest vibration," and sleep in silence, trusting that the process has already begun. Second step, the morning ritual. Upon waking, before looking at your phone or speaking to anyone, take the glass and observe it. Don't look for visual cues, but notice the internal difference. How do you feel? Lighter, more centered? This moment is important because it creates a bridge between the unconscious and the conscious. Next, pour the water down the sink or onto the ground, visualizing that you are releasing everything your body and mind processed during the night. Do this with gratitude. This simple act trains the brain to understand that all purification needs to be accompanied by detachment. It's the same logic of physics that Tesla taught. Energy only flows when there is free space to circulate. Third step, the vibration exercise. Throughout the day, practice vibrational awareness. This means observing what you emit, the words you use, the emotions you nurture, the people you interact with. When something or someone lowers your frequency, fear, anger, criticism, return to your breath and remember the glass of water. Ask yourself, what am I letting into my field right now? This self-observation is one of the most powerful forms of energetic transmutation because it makes the unconscious become conscious. Tesla said that the secret is to think like energy, to flow, not to resist. The more vibrational awareness you have, the easier it will be to maintain balance. Fourth step, the 7-day cycle. Repeat the water glass ritual for 7 consecutive nights. This period creates a complete cycle of vibrational realignment. Write down your dreams, sensations, and emotional changes in a notebook. It may seem symbolic, but Tesla insisted on the importance of recording. He said that the human mind tends to doubt the invisible until it sees concrete evidence. By writing, you create an anchor between the mental and physical fields, reinforcing the vibration of your intention. At the end of the 7 days, read your notes and observe the patterns. You may notice greater clarity, deeper rest, a more stable emotional state. These are signs that your vibration is reorganizing itself. Fifth step, integration. After completing the cycle, make this gesture a natural practice, not an obligation. The power of vibration lies in spontaneity. Place the glass on nights when you feel the need to reorganize your energy, or during moments of emotional transition. Over time, you will realize that the glass is just a tool. The true transmitter is you. This realization is liberating. It's the point where Tesla's knowledge transforms into personal experience. Understanding that the energy field you create around yourself is the same one that shapes your life. Now, go further. Apply the same principle to other areas. The water you drink, the plants you water, the words you speak. Speak consciously, think intentionally, breathe mindfully. If everything is vibration, every action is an emission. Imagine if everyone around you started emitting more harmony than noise. The whole world would change. And that's how collective transformation begins. Not with external revolutions, but with the internal coherence of each individual. Tesla dreamed of this moment, the day when humanity would understand that the most powerful technology is the human mind in a state of harmony. But it's important to remember, transforming vibration isn't about escaping reality, but rather observing it with new eyes. Fear, pain, and fatigue will continue to exist, but when you understand that they are merely passing frequencies, you learn to navigate them without getting lost. Tesla said that energy is never destroyed, it only changes form. The same applies to emotions. They are not enemies, they are messages. When accepted, they become strength. When repressed, they become noise. The glass of water is the symbolic space where this transmutation takes place. It teaches that everything that is recognized can be purified. By applying these steps, you're doing more than creating a spiritual routine. You're training your brain to operate in higher vibrational states, states of coherence, calm, and creativity. Over time, you'll notice that the environment changes, relationships transform, and opportunities seem to flow more naturally. This is no coincidence. It's vibrational physics in action. Tesla called this creative resonance. When you vibrate harmoniously, you attract experiences that vibrate at the same frequency. It's what many people call synchronicity, but Tesla saw it as pure science, electrical fields in sync. Therefore, the true goal is not to sleep better or cleanse energy, but to develop full vibrational awareness. It's understanding that in every moment, you are transmitting something to the universe and receiving something in return. The water under the bed is a reminder of this constant communication. Every night while you sleep, your field recalibrates. Every morning, when you throw the water away, the universe reorganizes itself. The gesture is symbolic, but the effect is real, because what you vibrate, you create. And now, after understanding all of this, comes the most important part, taking action. Wisdom that isn't put into practice becomes just another piece of information. But when you act, when you actually place the glass, when you observe, when you breathe, when you feel, something changes. The invisible responds, the universe listens, and what begins as a simple experiment transforms into a dialogue between you and the whole. A silent, vibrational, eternal dialogue. So make this your personal practice. Start tonight. Take a glass of water, breathe, set your purest intention, and trust. Do this for 7 days, and observe what happens. Write it down, notice it, live it. Allow yourself to be living proof that energy and consciousness are the same thing. And when you feel something has changed, share it. Talk about it. Show that the simple can be sacred, and that vibration is the language of God. As Tesla believed, if this video touched something within you, if it sparked your curiosity or brought you peace, don't let it be lost. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share your experiences, even anonymously. Tell us what you felt, what you noticed, what changed. Each comment, each account is a frequency that resonates with thousands of other people who are also seeking harmony. And remember, the smallest gesture, made with true intention, is capable of moving the entire universe. Today, the glass of water is the beginning. Tomorrow, the vibration of your consciousness will be what transforms the world.